here we go. Okay, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our special Tuesday night visits. And tonight, we didn't have to go very far. We have with us our very own locals, Rabbi Yosef Moscowitz, who's both the executive director of Lubavitch Chabad of all of Illinois, as well as Chabad of Bucktown, and the director of something called CYP, which we're going to learn about, and some friends of his, Michale and Aleeza. Is it Zaner? You have to unmute so we can hear you. Zaner.
Yeah.
Welcome. Thank you so much. And they have just returned from a beautiful weekend Shabbaton in New York. So first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it. Nice to meet you. And Rabbi Yosef, maybe you can get us started and tell us, what is CYP? What does that stand for? And what is that program?
So if you look at my screen, you'll see behind me a YJP.
A lot of letters here.
Which stands for Young Jewish Professionals. And that was basically every kind of community that started focusing on young Jews created a little bit of a something for themselves. And then CYP is from Chabad headquarters, Chabad Young Professionals, where they basically, I remember back when we started, we were a group of 7 shluchim, and we got together and said, let's make this into something much bigger. And now from that turned into CYP with over 250 chapters throughout the world. And the focus is doing programs for young professionals, both in their local Chabad houses, as well as joint programming and Shabbatons and trips overseas to bring people together, because especially at this age, it's a great time for networking and helping people find their Masharetz, etc. So that's kind of the nutshell.
So Michale and Aleeza, if you could unmute and tell us a little bit about yourselves and where you're from, what's a little bit of your backstory, and how'd you get involved with Rabbi Yosef and CYP, Chabad Young Professionals?
So I actually grew up in Chicago, but my husband and I met when we were both living in Colorado, and we initially got involved with Chabad out there in Fort Collins, probably like 5 or 6 years ago. And then every time we've moved, we really enjoy Chabad, so we've tried to stay connected. So when we moved from Fort Collins to Denver, we switched to a different Chabad. And then when we moved to Chicago, thank God we're close to Rabbi Yosef in the living room. So we started going there to events. We moved about a year ago. So we've been frequenting for the last year, and being young Jewish professionals, we thought that this would be a really fun trip. So Rabbi Yosef actually got us a class that helped subsidize the trip. And so we've had, 4 sessions before the trip. And it was a great time.
Okay, so you live in Bucktown, is that right?
We live in we live in Humboldt Park.
In Humboldt Park. And you're young and you're Jewish, and what kind of professions are you in?
So I work for a company called Yelp. I do advertising.
Will you give us a good review?
Of course. No, I can't, unfortunately. I'll never be able to give a review again. So that's why I took the job.
Excellent.
Yeah, I'm an accountant. I work in private equity fund administration. So wonderful. Just look at numbers all day.
Okay, so Rabbi Yosef, you tell us about this Shabbaton, give us a little background, and then maybe walk us through some of the itinerary and some of the participants that came from locally, and sort of a description of the crowd that was there.
So the Shabbaton was called CYP Encounter, and it was this past week, obviously, starting Friday morning to Sunday afternoon, starting out with everyone joining in Crown Heights. And
so you all flew together?
We, for Chicago, we basically flew together. We had, I think, 8 or 9 of us. Most of us were on the same flight. Maybe the only
other people, are they married? Are they single? A combination?
Mostly single. I'm married, by the way.
Okay.
But it was like a dating event also. They had a lot
part of the event was there was one track with dating sessions, and then one track for everyone else. You know, people come with partners that are already in relationships and stuff, and then people looking for relationships. So you have all types. So
So you flew out on last Friday. And
we
the
flew out
snowstorm didn't
Friday,
slow you
6
down?
o'clock in the morning flight. We met together at the living room at 4 a.m.
4 a.m.
And we made it to the airport, and we made it out before the big snow.
Oh, so
And
Baruch Hashem, because that must have been a little
we
concerning.
got there in time, and in New York, it was like we were coming to Florida. You didn't have to wear your coats even.
And there's a lot of Jews.
And a lot of Jews. And we went straight into it. We were supposed to go to our host first. Everyone had different hosts. I mean, our group was basically just in 2 or 3 places. But
When you say host, you were hosted in families in
with
Crown
families,
Heights.
yes. So we were
Michael and
supposed to-
Aleeza, had you ever been to Brooklyn before?
No, I haven't.
I have, but I was really young. My mom was born in Brooklyn, so my family is from New York, and then they moved to Jacksonville, Florida. That's where I'm from.
Okay, so what was your first impression of Brooklyn?
You know, right away, I felt that New York vibe, you know, the fast pace. I could tell that, you know, everyone's going quick, but where I landed in New York this time was a lot different. You know, being grateful every time we've moved, we've gotten closer to a bigger community, and thankful for that. But when we got to Crown Heights, Rabbi Moscowitz took lead, and I mean, even just where we were on, what was the street where there's like a bakery, kosher bakery. Yeah, we got to see a scribe. We got to go. It was like we were going from like one house to the next house to the next house. It was just like amazing to be able to do that and experience it, especially in like a big city like New York. So it was really cool.
Okay, so Rabbi, walk us through what are the steps. So everyone lands, you meet up with the other people, or you just the Chicago group? Sort of, is it like a whole big massive group? What's the vibe like at that
So
point?
we landed, we checked right in at the JCM, Jewish Children's Museum, and we went straight on the tour. The first thing, we actually went to the Rebbe's room, and we got to go in the Rebbe's room itself, and say some Tillim together. And then we moved on to the Rebbe's library, and we got the inside of that. And then we did Kingston, and in Kingston itself, we got to see a lot of the behind the scenes from Cipher and how they write terrors and inside of tefillin and mezuzahs. And you definitely wouldn't think it was a Friday afternoon, the way there was plenty of time, and Judaica World and Ebers, of course, and then we got to see
Ebers is a liquor store.
we got to see Kahash, the Chabad publishing house. We got to see where Sarah basically was running the show in Kahash. We went upstairs to her old office.
Completely fallen apart since then.
Well, that's what they said.
I can attest to it. I remember those days. So how many different branches of Chabad Young Professionals from what other locales participate in this event? How many other young?
I mean, you have from all over the country, but even a group from France came, a group from South Africa, I believe, came.
Wow.
And then mostly from around America.
Okay, so everybody's staying in private homes. You got set up in private homes, and then you got ready for Shabbos, and then what? What was the Friday night looking like?
So we got together in Aleeza. That was our home base for Shabbos.
That's the big like wedding hall and so on.
And that's where we davened, and we had Kiddush there. We had a happy hour there. CYP went all out. I think you could attest to that, from all the food and what we call liquid Shabbos was unlimited and really, really great.
Everyone was over 21, I assume.
To qualify for the trip, you have to be over 21.
So did you guys know the other Chicagoans, Michael and Aleeza? Did you know the people from Chicago who had come, or you were meeting these people from South Africa and other cities and countries and so on? What was that like, to meet people from all over the world?
So we did know the people from Chicago, just from around different Jewish events, Chabad events. So that was nice to go with some of our friends, and then some people that we didn't know as well, who we now know a lot better. But it was very cool to meet people from all over the world. Like we met people from London. There was a big group from France. There was a bunch of girls there from Israel who saw their first snow. They were so excited. And it was just really cool to be united with Jews from literally all over the world. I think, especially during this time, it's easy to feel a little bit isolated with what's going on. And so to be with so many like-minded Jews, just having a good time, enjoying Shabbos, getting inspired and charged up, it was really amazing.
So in addition to the delicious food and the plenty of liquids flowing, what was some of were there speakers? Was there like a Farbrengen? Was there people just going around and just sort of getting to know each other? Give us a little sense maybe of the programming.
I mean, all of the above. There was time for everything and everyone. There was a bunch of different programming. There were all kinds of different speakers. There was professional boxers, plastic surgeon.
Were these, when you say these professional boxers, were those participants or those were speakers who were brought in to talk?
Speakers, yeah. So there were speakers giving their story. There were different lectures. Being that it's a professional event, they had people come and speak about their routine in the business world while also being observant. There was a challah bake, tours, there was all kinds of events, and then there was the speed dating also going on. So, and there were different tracks, so you could
Thank
really.
God you're past that, I bet, right?
Yeah, actually.
So if I could just jump in for a second. So
Sure.
after the happy hour, we went to different homes for the Shabbos meal itself.
Oh, you ate the meal separately, okay.
Yeah, and we actually joined together with a group from Texas.
Oh, boy.
Which was fun at Zalman Lazar's house, which was nice to have the Shabbos meal with another young professional group, and that was a good times. And then we came back to Alatara for more of the sessions and
See, I think there's a big emphasis on the young because I'm falling asleep from being up at 3 in.the morning at the living room to flying and running around. And now, what time we get to go to sleep? Okay, so tell us about that.
Well, tell us about getting back from Lazar's house, and on the way to Alatara, we stopped at 770. How was that?
Sounds like Rabbi Moscowitz may have said a few l'chaim. He doesn't remember. What happened there?
Well, I will say, Rabbi Moscowitz, he is good with his words, or maybe he's just got a really nice beard, or they trust him. But we got there, it was pretty late. There was a barricade, and next thing you know, the barricade was moved for our group specifically to be able to get us in.
There's a lot of people not getting in.
There's a lot of people not getting in. Go ahead.
You thought Moses splitting the sea was impressive. This was even really more impressive.
Yeah, it was. It was amazing, and everyone was like, "How are you getting it?" When we came out, wow, you were really first class citizens.
So
Aleeza, you got to go into the basement of 770 to the big shul. That's, usually it's only for men, so you got a double.
Oh, I know. There was
VIP tour.
Yeah, there were people that were like, "You can't go in there. You can't go in the shul," and Rabbi was like, "Just come in there." So
nice.
We
did a quick tour.
It was definitely a great experience. The entire time, it didn't hit me until maybe about 10 minutes before this Zoom. I was thinking about what my biggest takeaway could be, but in reality, you meet a lot of rabbis in your life and you don't know what yeshiva they went to or what it was like for them. And, with this experience, this one was a little bit different because I was actually able to see a little bit about Rabbi Moscowitz in his life and see how he works, his magic in Crown Heights. And it really was like walking the footsteps, but I think I got one step ahead because my wife got in to 770. Maybe, I don't know, but it was really walking the footsteps. So it was very impactful for me to be able to see that. And
rabbis in their natural habitat. Nice.
Yeah.
So in addition to this Shabbaton, so then Shabbos morning comes, what's like the next stage? Finally, you do get to go to sleep. Now Shabbos morning, what's going on there?
Rabbi, you want to go? Or?
So again, there were classes before davening, and again, different choices. But I think a highlight was actually during davening for Kriyas Torah, for reading the Torah. People could be nominated to get an aliyah, and then after the aliyah, you have to make a mishaberach, and you have to do a ba'avur shanada, but instead of donation of dollars, it had to be of a mitzvah. And the rabbi that was running it was no monkey business. Like if you said I'm going to keep Shabbos, you got to put a time to that for a week. I mean, for a month, for a year, 5 times, 2 times. It was really legit, and it was very impressive, the different achlatas that people made. And it spilled over to the meal afterwards, at least on our table. We had people matching some of those achlatas, so it was very inspiring.
Okay, and can you share with us who were some of the speakers? Anyone we may have ever heard of, or some famous people, or something that was like particularly stood out that
Manis
really
Friedman spoke,
best.
and Anya Lazarov, and the Alpines, and then
Michael or
Yuri-
Aleeza, was there something specifically that maybe resonated with you? Some speaker or something that you heard that really sort of stood out, or just overwhelming with all the good stuff?
Yeah, I actually do have one.
Okay, please.
It's not connected to the speakers, but I guess it is kind of connected. There was a guy that we met Saturday before davening while we were just like, eating a little bit of bagel and lox, sat at our table. And he had been on his journey over the past couple of years, got connected in Orlando. His name was Scott. And on the day we went to the Rebbe's tomb, Scott gave a speech, or gave like a little live, or like
He was on stage.
like on stage,
Yeah.
like a little conference thing. And I learned that through his journey, he was going through a really tough place in his life, and was able to turn that around, build himself spiritually, and also get more connected. So much that his business turned into a very positive thing. And now he's able to donate towards building a mikvah
Beautiful. In
Orlando.
Orlando.
And I was
Wow.
like, go ahead.
wasn't he made that condition? Like he
Yeah.
was down and like he told the Rebbe, "You help me, I'll help you." And he made that condition that he'll help with the mikvah.
Beautiful. Wow, that's amazing. So what about Motzei Shabbos? What did you do Saturday night?
There was a big party Saturday night. There was like a giant, well, it was like, so 9:30, we all went back to Ohlei Torah, and they had like a mixer with food. I mean, it was like a wedding set up. It was great. They had like a mixer with food and this big open bar. And then they had a band and music, and there was like games in the hallway. I mean, it was so fun. It was a giant party. And I mean, I think that was even before the Farbrengen. We were a little tired, so
I'm tired just listening.
I didn't make it to the Farbrengen, but like it was a great time. Like lots of fun, lots of dancing, lots of energy, and then it was back home to get ready to be on the buses in the morning to go to the Ohel.
Oh, so everybody went together to the Ohel on Sunday morning. And then from the Ohel, what was that? Had you ever been before to the Ohel?
First time.
Yeah, first
Wow.
time. It was really
They did a really good job. The program before going into the aisle itself.
So you had like a preparation program, sort of spoke about it. And what was your impression of your first experience at the Ohel? What was that like?
Powerful.
Yeah, very powerful. Like we were just recently in Israel together. We went to a lot of, like holy sites and graves of Siddiqim and all this stuff. And
wow, we got to have you on separately to talk about that. You went since October 7th?
No, we went this summer, so not so
Summer.
time is going by quickly, but I don't know. I just felt something very special at the Rebbe's Ohel that I didn't necessarily feel in these other places. It was just very special and a really amazing opportunity to, daven for all the things that we need and want, and it was great.
Fantastic. And then from there, what was that?
Well, what part of the preparation, so obviously there was a few speakers, a little video, and then we always talk about making achlatas. So when you ask for brachas, you should also give a gift to the Rebbe by achlata. So as a way to encourage that, they had these tables with different items that they were raffling off. And basically, if you filled out the card with your achlata, it was about tzedakah, you can win a tzedakah box. Friday night candles, you can win a candlestick. Want to learn? There's some svarim, tefillin, a bunch of different options. And as long as you commit to something, then you're eligible to win that raffle. And out of all the hundreds of people that were there, these two separately both won something in those raffles.
See, Rabbi Yosef, he could fix anything, he even won the raffle. What'd you win? Come on, let us know. A sled, a bike? What'd you win? An Apple Watch?
Yeah, I won the tzedakah box, and my
Beautiful.
pledge. You have to like put a pledge on the card of like what mitzvah you're gonna do, and these were all related to sponsoring or giving tzedakah. So I pledged to sponsor all of the tequila for the living room for Rabbi.
That's a lot of tequila.
It is. It is. We go to Costco for the big bottles.
Okay. And Michael, what was your achlata? What did you win?
Yes. While she's saying that, I'm like, is this a way for her to get me to drink less tequila? I didn't think about that.
You have to give it all away.
I was fortunate enough to first say that I never win, and that's why I bring my wife, because she always wins.
Well, she got you. She's the biggest winner in the world.
But she's still my good luck charm, you know? And then I won the Chumash, which was amazing.
Oh, beautiful.
Not expecting it.
Wow, wonderful. Rabbi Yosef worked his magic again. Okay, and then after the Ohel, was there more at the Ohel? Was it time to go home yet, or?
And they had a very nice lunch.
Very
and
nice.
then we went back to the plane.
And your flights were all on time and everything? We didn't get caught in the storms and the cold weather and whatever?
No, we were always on time.
Beautiful.
Everything.
Wonderful. Okay, well, we want to thank you. If somebody wants to unmute and jump in with a quick question, we'd love to hear it. Otherwise, we want to say thank you very much to Rabbi Yosef.
If you have like 1 minute,
we have 2 minutes.
and you could give Levi Moscowitz access, he'll show you a quick recap video.
Okay. Hold on here a second. There he is. Okay, I'm going to make you co-host. Okay, everybody stay here. I didn't even know. Make Levi co-host. There you go. Okay, I'm going to unspotlight.
We're still open for questions too, just in case.
Okay.
Just before that, one thing, that personal encounter that I had by the OL was that I was standing directing people, whatever, but then somebody came over and asked. He was like overwhelmed in a good way about all the things that were said by the event, about what the OL is. And he was just asking me like what he should write. And it was very interesting, inspiring for me to be able to explain to him like what the situation was between like you're sending to God, but then there's the Rabbi in between, and it's like a whole thing. So it's very nice to help not only in the logistics part, but also the spiritual part.
Okay, so this is Levi, son of Rabbi Yosef Moscowitz from
Sorry
Bucktown, who is one of the coordinators of the event. So you got a video. Make sure you share the sound in the video. I'll give you the tech lesson here.
Okay, just finding it.
There you go.
Do you see it?
Yes. Look at this. Beautiful. Beautiful. Wow. Crazy. Beautiful. That was fantastic. Okay. Wow. If anybody wants to jump in, unmute, and you got a question, otherwise we're going to say goodnight and thank the Rabbi and Michael and Aleeza. and Levi. I want to thank you for your time and for sharing that. That was beautiful. And Rabbi, if people want to get more involved in CYP, what do? They call you? What's the process for other types of programs?
Yeah, definitely. Just reach out to us. About a buck down in the living room. We have the many programs once a month, first Fridays, and then more of these classes. And we're already talking about our next trips in the summertime to other destinations around the world.
All right, give us a website quickly, and then people can check it out.
Just straight up to jewishbucktown.com. And
JewishBucktown.com. They'll take you right there. Okay, so thank you, Michael and Aleeza. Thank you, Levi, for sharing that. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow night for some mimer. Good night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow night. Thank you. Thank you so much, all of you. Thank you.
Thank you.